The Kevin Cleary Invited Speaker program was begun in 2014 in memory of a beloved JALT President who passed away in January of that year. Kevin M. Cleary, 1962 to 2014, had been involved with JALT as an officer at the chapter level and the national level since 2002. He served as JALT President from 2010 until his death in 2014. He is remembered as a soft-spoken but dynamic leader with energy, vision, a great sense of humour and strong interpersonal skills. The speaker for this award is one who encompasses the same spirit and enthusiasm Kevin showed during his time with JALT.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Bautista. I am the Invited Speakers Liaison, and today we have with us Robert Chartrand. Hello, Robert. Thank you so much for joining JALT 2024, this time as the Kevin Cleary Invited Speaker. So now, Robert, can you provide a brief overview of your area of expertise and your current work or research interests?
Hey, thank you very much, Michelle. It's nice to meet you and good to speak to you about the Kevin Cleary Invited Speaker talk. So my name is Robert Chartrand, and I'm a professor at Kuduma University. And my area of research interest is mostly centered around CAL, which is computer-assisted language learning, or also called education technology, and I'm also currently interested in using AI for education and for learning. And I'm also very much interested in teaching and learning, so second language acquisition and teaching all kinds of students here in Japan. And I've been involved in this kind of CAL research now for over, I'd say about 30 years. Yes, so for,
wow, 30
for a long
years.
time. Yes. At the beginning, of course, when I started in this field, computers were, of course, just starting to become popular. So at that time, computers were mostly, very large and very expensive. So not many people had them at home, but some schools started to purchase them for their classrooms. And my first experience using kind of CAL was in the high school in Fukuoka. And there were about 40 computers in the room, and each one had a CD-ROM built in. So fortunately, when they purchased the computers, they already had some software with them. And one of the software applications that was installed was called DINED, which is short for dynamic English. Yes.
Oh, and can you give me a little more information about that software?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So DINED is a kind of software produced in the United States. And it's mostly a kind of conversation-based software, but basically you're looking at an image of two people talking, and then there's some kind of interface where the student is asked to answer some questions and using listening, basically listening and reading. So at that time, there was no kind of, say, the input, for example, so to speak or to write. It was mostly listening and reading, but the student could choose some questions and answers and kind of interactive software. And so, of course, as the time progressed, the software became more interactive. So eventually, the student could record their voice on the computer. And so that became a bit more, using 3 or 4 skills, basically. Yeah. But that
Wow.
was
So
yeah, the
your
early
students
stages.
back
Yeah.
then were very, very lucky to have you
Yes.
for someone who could actually, manipulate or actually utilize these
Mm,
computer software as early as that.
right.
Oh,
Right.
nice. Oh, go on, please.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the lucky part was that the software was already included with the computer, so I didn't have to choose
Mm-mm.
it. So, and then
Ah,
that kind of I looked at it and studied how to use it, and then as I used it in the classroom, I became more interested in using different kinds of software. So that kind of started
mm,
my research in this area,
mm,
and also, I did a master's degree in the United States at SIT, which is the
mm,
School for International
mm,
Training. And I was
mm,
able to write my master's thesis on the topic of using call in the high school classroom. And so that kind of started my serious research in this area. Yeah.
mm. Wow, you had an extensive experience and knowledge about well, I'm sure that a lot of language educators now are having an easier time with all the
Mm,
technologies,
for
but
sure. Yeah.
compared to your time before, like
Mm,
I'm sure you have contributed a lot to JALT, especially to JALT with all of your work.
mm,
But now that I'm sure that a lot of educators will be looking forward to your
mm.
presentation
Yes.
coming November for
Mm,
JALT 2024. Um, do you have like any key message that you plan to convey during your presentation at JALT
mhm.
2024?
Yes, the title of my talk is Exploring Learner Potential and Educator Possibilities. So basically, I want to reflect on my experience of teaching in Japan for the last,
Mm,
30 years or so. And I want to express kind of my experience in doing different things and talking to different people and using my own personal experience of learning languages and teaching languages and to kind of give a message on what is the best practice and what are the ways of teaching that I found to be useful in the classroom. And one of my experiences is I'm a French language speaker. So I'm
oh,
from
wow.
yes, so I'm from Montreal in Canada, and in Montreal,
Mm,
basically, it's a bilingual city, so people speak French and English.
mm,
So I started out speaking French only for the first 10 years of my life, and
mm,
then uh, when I was 10 years old, my parents decided to put me in an English language elementary school because they
mm,
felt English was important. So I
mm.
was kind of started my intensive English program. and and because I was 10 years old and put into a situation where English was used all day in the classroom, I remember the process of learning English basically. So it
Mm,
took me a year to kind of understand what was happening in the classroom.
mm,
But it took me, I think, quite a while, I mean, 6, 7 years
mm,
of being in an English language school to really feel confident that, okay, now I'm at the same level as the other students,
mm,
basically academically English, academic English. So I want to talk about that. I mean, the process of
mm,
learning English and my frustrations and how I was able to cope with learning the language, of course. And then
mm,
later on, when I came to Japan and I started teaching English in Japan, I was able to relate those experiences of
mm,
learning English. And then when I taught to my students, then I realized their frustrations and their kind
mhm,
of struggles because basically I remember, okay, I went through the same process when I was learning the language.
mm,
So, I kind of built some empathy for the students and was able
mm,
to use kind of my strategies for learning and seeing if that was useful for them. And one of the strategies I found was that reading was really one of the most important skills that I
Mm,
found to really put me at a higher level in English. So,
mm,
reading books, basically. So, I was able to think about that, and then later on in my teaching career, I realized that, extensive reading using graded readers was really a very
mm,
important tool
mm,
for the students. So I try
mm,
to, encourage extensive reading. And I also found that vocabulary learning was also really important because if we
mm.
don't know the words, we don't know the language, basically. So,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so yeah, I basically focus on those areas, so extensive reading, and also focused on vocabulary building and
Mm.
second language acquisition are also kind of things that I'm interested in. So try to talk about that in my talk as well.
Oh, those are really wonderful ideas, and I agree with you. Those are really very helpful to learners, like foreign language learners, because trying to understand words and trying to understand more words through reading could really, really be helpful to their language learning. And so, with your many years of experience as a learner and as a teacher here in Japan, how do you envision your presentation benefiting the conference attendees
Mhm.
and the broader community?
Sure. So by basically sharing my experiences and reflecting on my career, then I can basically say, okay, these are the things that work for me, and these are the
Mm,
things that didn't
mm,
work for me, and also share some of my experiences of raising a family in Japan. So I have,
mm,
wife and children,
mm,
and they were educated in Japan, basically, and kind
mm,
of how to cope with raising children in Japan in not only a bilingual, family atmosphere, but trilingual as well. So because,
mm,
I speak three languages, so
mm,
how do we cope with speaking three languages at home and in the classroom? Of course, building a bilingual environment in the classroom and focusing on what really is helpful for the students. And most recently, I've been involved in the last few years with advising a high school in Tokyo, junior high and high school in Tokyo, and
mm,
basically starting a new curriculum so that they could, improve the language learning prospects for their students.
mm,
And we started exploring with kind of a Cambridge curriculum. So they have the
mm,
Cambridge assessment and kind of Cambridge textbooks and focusing on kind of worldwide English curriculum development rather than just kind of using the Japanese Ministry of
mm,
Education curriculum development and seeing if that improves their language learning abilities. And comparing that to other schools, we feel that it's better to focus on kind of global curriculum
mm,
development rather than just focus on Japan. So I'd like to share some of those experiences as well. And I think the
mm,
participants can kind of try to relate with those experiences and seeing if
mm,
they can use some of that information. And of course, I'd be happy to discuss with participants during my talk if they have questions or if they want me
mm,
to go into something deeper. And I'd be happy to share that. And more recently, how to use the technology with AI and how
mm.
the new kind of issues we have with these
Mm.
kind of technologies. So
You
that's
know,
also
geez, yeah.
something that everybody is interested in as well, I think.
Wow, you have so many things to offer for JALT 2024, going
Mhm.
global and
Mhm.
all these technologies. But then again, before we end, Dr. Robert, could
Mhm.
you just encourage people, especially language educators here in Japan, why is going to JALT 2024 a really nice experience with your
Sure.
many years of involvement in JALT?
Sure, of course, I'd be happy. I've been involved in JALT for about 30 years now. And
Mm,
I think when I was a high school teacher trying to learn how to, improve my professional development, I found that being by myself was really difficult to learn how to improve myself. And then I found out about Fukuoka JALT, and then by going to meetings at Fukuoka JALT, I was able to meet other educators and share experiences with them. And then I started going to chapter meetings, and then going to conferences, the international conference, and joining some SIGs. So I joined a few SIGs, special interest groups. And by going to these events and by sharing with people, I was able to plan kind of my professional development according to my needs, right? And I think that we're really lucky in Japan because JALT is really involved in so many different aspects, and geographically, it has chapters all over the country. And I think that these are really good opportunities for teachers to come and meet other people and to listen to speakers and to really kind of focus on what they want to improve themselves for their own specific situation. And I don't think, we have that kind of setup in many countries in the world where we have
That's true.
this access to kind of professional development. And I think the most important aspect of JALT is building community. So by going to the conference, you meet people, and then you find people that you want to share with, and then you develop kind of connections with people. And these connections last a long time. And of course, now with online tools such as Zoom, people can stay in touch much more easily. So we can continue at the conference by meeting people, by going to presentations that are interesting, and then contacting and maintaining contact with people for basically your career. So I think that's the best advantage of going to a JALT conference and to experiencing all kinds of wonderful things.
Yeah, I can attest to that. That's why I keep coming back. So thank you so much, Dr. Robert, and thank you for sharing with us all of these wonderful things and ideas. And I'll be seeing you for this coming November, this JALT 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing everybody in Shizuoka. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.